And remember, DeMeco Ryans had been hired as the new head coach there, and he was getting the word from Nick Saban, hey, look, man, this Will Anderson can't miss. Absolute can't miss. Every quarterback comes in with questions. He's like, that's the hardest working dude, best leader we've had in our locker room in a long, long time. So DeMeco was pounding the table for the edge. They got both because they were aggressive. And, you say what you want about where Houston is right now, but you realize, this, Jack, because you follow the Texans. That franchise had won 11 total games in the previous 3 seasons. Since that draft night move, they've won 32 regular season games in 3 seasons, 2 division titles, and they've won 3 playoff games. Their hump is the divisional round, and they're trying to get over that. But that night and the hiring of DeMeco Ryans changed the franchise. There's no doubt about that. And yesterday you might have seen that Houston, as expected, exercised their 5th-year options on both C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, which means they're now both under contract to Houston for 2 more seasons. And playing out their rookie deal. That's what the 5th-year option means. Now, you can now start to negotiate. CJ and Will are both under the Texans contract for 26 and 27. The expectation is Houston will link Anderson to a mega deal, $40+ million soon. He's earned that. And Stroud will be on a full prove-it year in 2026 for Houston. But, that was the night. That was aggressiveness that happened. You know this, Jack. You're a continually pessimistic Texans fan and maybe realistic. But Houston now has only 4 of their projected 25 starters, if you count specialists, that are not under contract for the next 2 seasons. 4 of their potential 25 starters. And they have one of the younger rosters, right in the middle of the pack as far as young rosters. But the only players who are not signed past next season, so free agents next offseason, Azeez Al-Shire and Henry To'oTo'o, center Jake Andrews, defensive tackle Tommy Togiai, and the wide receivers Tank Dell and Xavier Hutchinson. And those are kind of backup guys. So point being, Houston's in a good place for 2 years contractually. Mm-hmm. And that would tell me, if you're looking at Houston draft picks beyond trying to find an offensive lineman in the first round, second round, linebacker, because they have 2 free agent linebackers in Al-Shire and To'oTo'o, center, and then defensive tackle. Those 3 positions, I would guess, if we come in on the weekend after the draft, the Texans will have solidified with young talent all 3 of those spots. Linebacker, that's where a guy like Anthony Hill, Houston from Texas, in the second round could be a guy to watch for Houston. They have the 59th pick. He may be gone by there, but keep an eye there. Plus center and defensive tackle. I would almost guarantee you those 3 positions will be addressed in the first 70 picks by the Texans next week, or 2 weeks now. But point being to that, let's go back to the draft in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So Texans make an aggressive trade. So the tweet yesterday from NFL insider Jordan Schultz, folks, here on Game Time of CBS Sports. He says, quote, the expectation among many NFL teams is that the 2026 draft will be one of the most trade-heavy drafts in recent memory. Specifically on the defensive side of the ball, edge, cornerback, and linebacker are all strong and deep. What do the Dallas Cowboys need, by the way? Edge, corner, and linebacker. Mm-hmm. The whole defense. He also says while wide receiver is typically considered to be the most talented offensive position in this draft. Schultz added, he said, several executives I've spoken to believe we're likely to see a flurry of activity in the first half of the first round, likely because this specific draft lacks depth in the later rounds. Many plan to pursue extra day 2 picks and early day 3 picks, but be active at the top of the order, or top of the draft to secure the guys, like Houston did 3 years ago. Get our quarterback, get our edge rusher. And Dallas is in that spot too. So here's the thing, Jack. After deep dives and mock drafts that I've done and looking into this, here are the teams I believe most likely to move. Because as always, in any situation, it takes 2 to tango, right? Those looking to move up need a partner that are looking to move back. And so likely candidates to go backwards, in my opinion, the Cardinals at 3, because they need a lot. The Browns at 6. And remember, the Browns also have 6. The Browns have 6, 24, and 39. And then the Washington Commanders, some think, are looking to move back at 7 because they're looking for a specific place to, they're getting healthy there in Washington. So those are the 3 most likely to go back. And then there are teams looking to move up, including the Tennessee Titans at 4. Because, again, if you want to secure one of those 2 guys we just heard Dane Brugler talking about, Reese or David Bailey, you might have to move up even from 4. And so the Titans at 4, the Chiefs at 9. Think about it for the Chiefs and Andy Reid. They don't draft this high almost ever.
It's true.
So if you have a 9th pick and you have the 29th pick that you traded Trent McDuffie to the Rams to get your cornerback, Could you go up and secure a elite pass rusher for years? Because their stars in Kansas City are aging. With Mahomes, Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. Could you go up and secure a star? And if David Bailey or Arvell Reese is that, could you go up, find a partner, and go get it? The Dolphins also are a team to watch. They own 11, right ahead of the Cowboys at 12. And remember, the Dolphins also own pick 30, 43, and they have 7 of the top 94 picks. The Dolphins do. So they could be a real mover. They've got ammo to move around. And then there's the Cowboys who have 12 and 20. So keep an eye there. Could the Cowboys be a team looking to go up, get David Bailey, secure him? You just heard Dane Brugler talk about him, how he's a walk-in dude. Arvell Reese, a little more of a project, which is why the Jets probably take the higher ceiling, or what they think could be a higher ceiling player. But David Bailey, man, that guy can come in and rush the passer next year for you. Plus, elite athlete, elite production. But the Cowboys will have suitors on that if they want to go up. But it certainly paid dividends for Houston when they did.
Yeah.
But that was a different place. Dallas trying to win now. But here's the other thing for Dallas. If you wait till 12, the elite players may very well be off the board. Well, Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Arvell Reese, those are the elite pass rushers. Even the top corner, Mansour Delane from LSU, might be gone. So Dallas in a weird spot, but you got Miami, Kansas City, and Tennessee all that also might be looking to go up.
That's right. And just it's the price of doing business, right? Do you get caught in a seller's market if you're the Cowboys and you move up and then the price gets really high? Because
I mean, got multiple, and Miami has more ammo than the Cowboys by a lot.
Like if it costs 12 and 20 to move up for David Bailey, I wouldn't make that trade.
They might.
I know.
Houston gave up. Houston gave up because remember, Houston went from 12 to 3.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think any of these guys are Will Anderson.
Well, that's fair, but he's the best, and he's not too far back, I don't think. You just heard Dane Brugler going through it. A lot of traits. 5-star recruit, Stanford, elite combine. So we'll see. But, the pass rusher is a pass rusher. You got to have a guy coming off the edge, and they don't have one right now. So we'll see what the Cowboys do. Houston gave up their first, and they gave up 12-28, and then their first in the next year. And that might be what it takes for the Cowboys. But that's your point. You got to put a value on David Bailey. How good is he? We will see. Houston gave up more than just their picks than that draft. But they don't regret it at all for where it put that franchise. Hey, do you know which draft, just for the walk down memory lane quickly here to wrap up the opening tip, do you, Jack, know, and you folks out there know which draft had the most trades in the first round? Because you got experts predicting this will be a flurry of first-round picks. Any guess which first round had the most picks or most trades, most activity?
I do not have a guess.
Let me take you back to this draft. Here's how it started. Paul Tagliabue was the commissioner.
With the first choice in the 2004 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Eli Manning, cornerback, Mississippi.
Boo! Eli Manning off the board, 04. He was the first of 3 big-time quarterbacks off the board in the top 10, 11 picks because obviously the San Diego Chargers selected Eli out of Ole Miss with the 1 pick, then immediately traded into the New York Giants in exchange for Phillip Rivers, the NC State quarterback who the Giants had selected. And then there was a flurry of trades.
Right, not a bad pick there.
You know how many trades that were made in that night, 2004, after that one happened? 28.
Dang.
28.
That's a lot of trades.
28 trades. Other notable trades that night or day, that was when they just did the Saturday-Sunday draft. The Detroit Lions traded their 6th overall pick to the Cleveland Browns for the 7th pick. And the Browns used the 6th pick on Kellen Winslow. The 7th pick, the Lions used wide receiver Roy Williams, Texas. Then picks 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, and 22 also traded hands. 22 is where the Dallas Cowboys, under their new head coach Bill Parcells, or their early on head coach Bill Parcells, they traded their pick to the Buffalo Bills. Bills gave the Cowboys a 2nd and a 5th round picks in that draft, 04, and then a 1st round pick in 05. To go back, the Bills came up and drafted in 2004, Jack? Quarterback J.P. Lossman. How did that go? Quarterback J.P. Lossman out of Tulane. That did not go good. Dallas used the pick they acquired to take running back Julius Jones in the 2nd round, then a tight end Sean Ryan in the 5th. How about this? Here's where it gets a little sticky because they got a 1st round pick from Buffalo in that trade that Bill Parcells orchestrated. In 2005, they used that 1st round pick to take defensive tackle Marcus Spears after they had taken DeMarcus Ware with pick 12. This is the year. Here we are, 23 years later, and they have picks 12 and 20? That was the year they took Marcus Spears. But you know who went 3 picks later? After the Cowboys took Marcus Spears in 2005? In a pick they acquired from the Buffalo Bills the year previous? 3 picks later, the Green Bay Packers selected Aaron Rodgers.
It's a pretty good draft here.
3 picks later, that was the next year's draft. 04 was Eli. 05 was Aaron Rodgers. But think about this for Cowboys fans. Maddening. I know Bill Parcells was your coach, but Aaron Rodgers went 3 picks later. You know who the Cowboys quarterback was at the time? Like, the Cowboys could have taken Aaron Rodgers. With the pick they got from Buffalo the year previous, they didn't take Aaron Rodgers. Their quarterback the first year was Benny Testaverde. You know who the quarterback the next year was? 34-year-old Drew Bledsoe, who led them to a 9-7 record that year. Then he was benched 6 games into the next year for Tony Romo. Why didn't they take Aaron Rodgers?
He's not a Jerry guy.
It was Bill Parcells at the time kind of running it. Well, I mean, and who would have guessed?
Romo was a miracle.
Yeah, Romo went on to be a miracle, but you could have had Aaron Rodgers. Just saying. That's what I love about the draft, all the history of it, all the what-ifs.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is still playing.
Yeah.
Tony been out of the league 10 years.
Well, and it wasn't like the Cowboys were secure at quarterback. The Cowboys, and they had already drafted a Hall of Famer in DeMarcus Ware. And I know Marcus Spears turned out to be a good player, and his daughter plays volleyball at Texas. She's really good. But golly, well, you were going from Vinny Greenballs to Drew Bledsoe, who was at the end of his run. 33, 34 years old. You could have taken a young quarterback. I don't know. But, you know, that just Houston also passed on Aaron Rodgers in that draft, and they didn't have a quarterback either. But that's what these drafts are about, the what-ifs, what could have been. Can you imagine if the Cowboys in 2005, based on a trade that they pulled off in 2004, drafted DeMarcus Ware and Aaron Rodgers? Be an all-time draft.
Right.
And there was only 3 picks, and they had the pick. They could have taken them. They didn't have to do anything. Just take them. Take Aaron Rodgers. And if you remember, that year, Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be the first pick.
And he fell and fell and fell.
Yes.
Right.
It wasn't like this was a reach. It's not like Ty Simpson or something.
One of the famous green room moments of all time with Aaron Rodgers.
And the Cowboys had an extra pick. And then, of course, Aaron Rodgers proceeded to torment them with the Green Bay Packers in playoff runs for decades. Or for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Can't miss on that.
That's rough. And
Sorry to rub it in. I'm just telling you, I went back and did the research to remember how it all played out. But they acquired that pick in a trade the year before on the most active trade night in the history of the first round.
Jordan Love's still doing it, too.
Well, you know, you had him. I mean, remember, if you don't remember, the first pick belonged to San Francisco, and everyone thought they were taking the cow product, Aaron Rodgers. They took Alex Smith. And there was Aaron Rodgers sitting there for the Texans, who didn't have a quarterback, sitting there for the Cowboys at 20. Texans had the 14th pick that year and didn't take him. They took a defensive tackle as well, Travis Johnson out of Florida State, for crying out loud. I remember being at Pluckers doing a draft watch party that day. So there you go, to rub it in. But Romo was a miracle, but you would have rather had Aaron Rodgers, just saying.